Hello everybody, my name is Jonathan and welcome to Bearly Unboxed. Today we have a very special video. This is a Halloween themed custom video. I love making custom dolls, especially around Halloween. So I actually collabed with Enzo over at the junk drawer for this. I reached out to him like a month or two ago. I think it's been like at least a month and a half. It's been a while. Besides the point. But I reached out to him and also to Chad Marvelous, and they were both really excited to do a collab video where we all three make a custom Halloween doll. And unfortunately, Chad was not able to complete his and follow through with it because he's been so busy. But if you want to check out his channel, and I'll put a link to it in the iCards and the description, go check it out because he actually does have some Halloween themed videos up, and he's a lot of fun to watch. So, and I'll also put a link to Enzo over at the junk drawer and to his video as well. It'll be added to the video once these go live. So anyway, the theme that I came up with was to incorporate glow-in-the-dark, because I myself am a huge fan of glow-in-the-dark. If you've watched my channel before, you know that. I love any toys that glow in the dark. It's like just so awesome to me. I've always loved them even since I was a kid. This is the doll that I will be using to create my custom. This is the Fearbook Venus McFlytrap, and if you want to see a full review for this doll, I will put a link to that in the iCards over here, but this is the video image for it, and you can go watch that if you want to see a full review of this doll. She's amazing. She's one of my most favorite Venus dolls from G3, and she inspired me with this hair. Because she has a full head of hair, unlike some of her other dolls have like the shaved hair on the sides right here. And I was just like, okay, I really need to use this one. She's got a really long hair. But anyway, I really need to use this doll and create something for Halloween that glows in the dark. So I'm really excited to get started on this. So let me show you my design that I came up with for this. Let me put her on a stand here. So we'll keep her here so you can kind of see the comparison. So this, and I am really out of practice at drawing, so please be kind. This is what I came up with. So I want to try to do an orange face and a gradient down her chest and arms. And then she's going to have glow-in-the-dark hair and a lot of other glow-in-the-dark aspects. I have some boots from another Venus doll that I'm going to use. It was from her Garden Mysteries Sculpting Secrets. Because finding shoes that fit Venus is a little difficult because she has bigger feet. And I initially got some Monster High G1 boots for her, and they don't fit her. So I'm improvising. So that's what I show here. This is kind of what her boots look like from that line. But this is kind of a close-up of what I want her to look like. This, I don't know how well I will be able to translate this to the doll, but we will see. So I'm really excited, so let's get to it. So to start, we just need to get her undressed and cut her hair off, which is always kind of a scary part. But rerouting is so satisfying when you do get it done. Like I said earlier, I absolutely love this version of Venus, and I am so happy that they released it with a full head of hair, because I was going to use the Sculpting Secrets Garden Mysteries Venus for this custom, and because I already had one and I was gonna unbox her as part of this video and just kind of show off a real quick review of her. But when they released this one, I was like, okay, I have to get this one. And like I said, I did a review on this particular doll already. And I just fell in love with her. So I had to get another one so that I could use her for this custom. So you probably saw I used a hair dryer to warm her head up so I could get it off, because the neck peg right here has these little hooks, and I always like to cut them off because then I can take her head off and put it back on really easily. In fact, over the process of customizing this doll, I did that a few times. So anyway, I'm using a screwdriver, it's the flathead type, to scrape the inside to pull all that hair out. And I will say this is a very satisfying thing to do, and then you gotta pull all the hair out. And luckily, newer dolls don't use a lot of glue, or really any. I think they kind of like use a heat melting kind of process to keep the hair in. I don't know. But this is the hair I'll be using. This particular one, the yellow one, glows in the dark. The green one does not. But I'm mixing them together, and I think that it'll still look like the green ones are glowing. And I want to paint her head so that it has like a glow-in-the-dark base to it. So if you see any of the scalp through the hair, which you probably won't really because this hair is really thick, but I want to make sure that you don't see that pink. So I'm just using some acetone to remove that. This part is always one of my favorite parts in other people's videos. And look how satisfying that is. So yeah, I'm painting the head white. This is just titanium white. All the paints I'm using are acrylic. And when I went into this project, I was really hoping that I could use Mr. Super Clear, which is a matte spray, and you can spray it on the doll, and then you can draw directly on the doll with watercolor pencils, and then seal it with the Mr. Super Clear. But I will mention later what I end up deciding to do, and you'll see the process too. But these hair I got from Doll Planet Hair, and they're both a nylon. And I will say the glow-in-the-dark hair has a much coarser feel to it than the green hair. The green hair is very soft. It feels really soft. But I am going to alternate the hair. One plug will be glow in the dark, and then the next one next to it will be the green, and then glow in the dark, and then green. And I have a feeling by doing that even the green hair will kind of look like it's glowing, because this glow in the dark hair actually glows really well. Now, rooting hair is definitely something that I wasn't a fan of very much, which is why I did a lot of custom Rainbow High dolls in the past, because you can dye their hair with RIT clothing dye really easily. But I'm trying to get used to rerooting doll hair, and I will say this curly doll hair it is so easy to root because it comes apart so perfectly in just one little strand that you need, whereas like the long straight hair, it's a little tricky. So to secure the hair in, I'm using a Fabri-Tac glue, and this is a fabric glue that after 24 hours can be washed. And I put a lot down in there, and then I'm just gonna spread it around as much as I can. In fact, later on I went back in and put even more glue because I didn't get enough in the base of her hair in the back. So just be very conscious of that. So I decided with this project that I was going to create a Monster High G3 style pet for my custom doll, and I want it to glow in the dark. So I got out all my clay to kind of look to see what I had for glow in the dark. I ended up not using that Fimo. I use this one though. This is a Sculpey, and it glows really well. And then I also had some pre-mixed glow-in-the-dark clay. That particular one was a cause clay, which is a flexible clay. And then this more yellow one is one I mixed up with various colors and different types of clay. And I love that you can mix polymer clay with cause clay. And cause clay is a flexible clay, and it actually strengthens the polymer clay. So if you have ever wanted to try clay, I recommend starting out with cause clay. It's a really nice clay because it's flexible once you bake it. So I mixed up like this custom color to make this pet. And it's just a very light pale yellow. And so my idea, because the pet was actually one of the first things that I did after I rerouted her hair. I was letting the glue dry. Like, I let it dry for a couple days. So while I was letting it dry, I started making this pet. My idea is to make a will-o'-the-wisp little pet, and I thought that was very fitting for the idea of my jack-o'-lantern doll. So I don't know, I just think will-o'-the-wisps are really cool. I've always loved fairies and anything fantasy, and will-o'-the-wisps are kind of like a very Halloween, but also part of the fairy world in my mind, and I just thought it'd be fun to make one. So these tools I'm using are so amazing. I bought these a long time ago when I started sculpting, and they're actually made by Wendy Froud, and they say Froud on them. And if you don't know who Wendy Froud is, she is actually the mother of Yoda from Star Wars. She sculpted the original Yoda that was in Star Wars. But she also is well known for sculpting the Gelflings in the Dark Crystal. And she's married to Brian Froud, one of my favorite artists. And Wendy is also one of my favorite artists too. I took a workshop with her, and she's amazing. Also her son, Toby Froud, who is actually the baby in Labyrinth. So just some little trivia there. All because of these tools. But yeah, these tools are amazing. I'm trying to remember where I ordered them from. It was online. I think it was the Complete Sculptor website. So if you're looking for really good sculpting tools, these are them. You get a bunch of them. I use them all the time when I'm sculpting. So I just keep comparing the size to Wutsy here because I don't think I said, but that is Frankenstein's pet dog, or whatever he is. He's basically very similar to Frankie being a monster. He's made up of different parts. He's kind of like a lizard and a dog mixed together. I wanted to give him like a head that looked like a flame, so made it pointy, and now I'm going to give him a little face. I actually sculpted, I think it was this was the third face that I sculpted, and I didn't include the other ones just because I didn't want the video to be so long. And I'm actually showing all the footage in real time. And just snippets because I thought it was easier that way. The best thing about polymer clay is ultimately you can use your fingers to smooth it out and sculpt it, and I think that is really fun. I like that it's tactile, and but these tools, again, the one I'm using right now is like a double-ended spoon tool, and I use it more than any other tool. Isn't he adorable? I am so happy with how he's turning out. A lot of the steps throughout this custom, I was just really surprised and happy about the results, but especially this little guy. So I'm using some wire. This is a aluminum wire that's also called armature wire, and it can be used to actually make an armature if you want to put it inside the clay, which I've done before. But I'm using it as just kind of a way to keep the head on without it falling off too easily. But there they are. They're awesome. So he is going in the oven to bake, and then this is him after he baked, and I'm really happy with the glow on him. So I actually bought a new brush for this project. It's round 18, very small. It was recommended. I was looking up information online, and I went to Reddit, and there was a doll customization Reddit subreddit, basically, or just a thread, I think it was, within Monster High, I believe. And they recommended getting one of those brushes if you're going to do acrylic paint for your face-ups on a doll. They also recommended something that I will end up using at some point, but I didn't have it yet when I was doing this pet, and it is called a flow aid, and you'll see that at some point here in the footage. You can add it to an acrylic paint. It's only for acrylics, and I think it's more so to keep the paint a good consistency for if you're using an airbrush. I'm assuming that's why it's called a flow aid. I'm just using various glow-in-the-dark paints, but also a black acrylic paint. And you can see it's in like a little jar. That is a Testors brand acrylic paint. If you didn't know that, Testors doesn't just make model paints that are enamel, but they also make acrylics, and they're amazing. They're really liquidy right out of the jar, and you don't even have to add any water to them, really, unlike most paints. And if you can get those for your customizing, I recommend them more than anything. I also picked up a bottle. You can see it there. It's the little one with the green lid, and that's what I was using for his eye color, or the base. Sorry, the base of the eye color. And I've never tried that type of paint. It's like a model paint for miniatures, I think. Miniature models. So now we also we sealed the pet with a matte varnish, and now I'm just cleaning the body off with pure alcohol, because it gets rid of oils and any factory residue, and that'll help paint stick. Because so at this point, I wanted to paint the vines on her legs, because I thought that would look really cool, like she's a pumpkin head, and the vines are part, like her body is basically the vines from the pumpkin. That was my design choice, my idea there. I wasn't gonna paint them, and then I thought, there's so much detail molded into these legs, and I kind of want to see what it looks like if they're painted. So again, these are paints I'm using. There's a dark green one, and this is also a Tester's acrylic paint. I also decided just to go ahead and paint her underwear, because they have the molded underwear on, and I always wanted to know what it would look like if it was painted. All the Monster High G3 dolls have like spider web underwear molded onto them, which I think is really cool. And I think it looks really neat when it's painted. So I also love the way the vines look on the legs. So here's what I was talking about. It's called Flow Aid. It's made by Liquitex. Liquitex makes some of the better paints out there, I think. And I'm trying it out for the first time, and I will tell you right now, when I was using it, I was already impressed with just the first few strokes, because it helped the paint cover a lot better than it normally would, because it let the paint kind of flow, and then once you got it on there, it would kind of even out, if that makes sense. And it didn't take very many coats, because, spoiler alert, yes, she was supposed to have an orange head, and I did try painting her head orange. In fact, you can see the orange in the tray. I'm pouring it into my little keeper, because I realized that I'm going to need that paint a lot for this custom, and I didn't want it to dry out. But anyway, yeah, I tried painting her face orange. It took so many layers, and at one point I just thought, this isn't going to work. And it ended up, as I was trying to draw her face on very gently, it messed up the paint. I was so heartbroken, and then I tried to take it off as best I could. It did stain a little bit of her hair, but yeah, I even tried it on the body, and you may notice later on that the body has some orange residue on the upper torso, and it's because I couldn't quite get it all off. But so I'm just going back and forth with paints for her face, with various glow-in-the-dark paints. I'm mixing them together. I'm getting different colors that I think work really well, that match my design and the image in my head of what I wanted to create. And I thought, you know what? We're going to give her edges, because she has room for it. She has such a big forehead. And obviously she had the edges as Venus, and I think they look beautiful. And so I thought, I'm giving her glow-in-the-dark edges because why not? I think it'll look amazing. So I just used the same one that I used for her eye color, like the base of her white of her eyes. This brush I got, I think every time I need to make a custom, I might just buy a new brush, because I had one of these type of brushes and it was ruined. Previous uses, but this new one it makes it so easy to paint really nice thin lines. And so when I'm painting, I'm right-handed, and I messed up her left eye multiple times. You see me here, I'm removing the paint because it just wasn't the right angle. It's really hard. I usually flip it upside down and paint it, but even then I get the angles wrong, and eventually I get it right, though, at least enough for my video. But you can see I'm removing I'm removing it again. It's so funny. I will tell you the amount of times I removed paint in this custom and then reapplied it. So I wanted to give her really dark eye makeup because I thought it would look really stunning. And then I wanted to add some orange into her eyes as well, because I still wanted to kind of keep the same jack-o'-lantern type face. This is the same face I would have done on her if she had the orange head like a pumpkin. I looked at some references, or at least dolls that I owned from Monster High G3, and I noticed they used gray to kind of give a shadow effect on the top of the eye. So I went ahead and did that. I'm using one of my favorite acrylic paints to ever exist. They're called Color Shift, and this one's a yellow one. I think it's called like Yellow Flash. And it has kind of a shifting color to it. I think it's just really pretty. Sometimes it's hard to tell on camera that it does change, but it does. So I'm giving her some smoky purple kind of eyeshadow, and I'm using both a glow-in-the-dark paint that's purple and a color shift paint mixed together, because I've found that certain paints, when mixed together with glow-in-the-dark, still actually glow a bit. But here I've done a little more detail to her eyes off camera. I did quite a bit of the detail, like the really fine detail work off camera, because I felt like I had more control that way, and it turns out better that way. So for her eyebrows, I originally was giving her glow-in-the-dark eyebrows, and they're green. I was like, Venus had the green eyebrows. Venus's eyebrows were dark green though, which matched her hair color. And I did that, and then I didn't like it, so I changed them to black. You can see here her eyebrows are black. And I also gave her some glow-in-the-dark freckles. And now I'm just taking the same matte varnish that I used on her pet and applying it anywhere that I put paint. And it is a permanent thing. I've even tried removing it on other projects with acetone, and it does not come off very easily at all, if at all. So for her accessories for this, I was trying to find shoes that would fit her. Unfortunately, I had some like other G1 Monster High boots, and they didn't fit her. And I was bummed because I really wanted to use them because they had a spider on them. I think they were is it Winona Spider? I can't remember her name. Or Wydowna. I think it's Wydowna Spider. And they were spiderweb boots, but they didn't fit her. So I had to find some that actually fit her, and Venus's feet are big. So I used some Venus boots from a different doll. And I'll tell you what, this War Paints, I think it's called War Paints, yeah. The lens flare, it's beautiful. It mixes into glow-in-the-dark paint so well. So my idea for these boots was I wanted the flowers to kind of look like pumpkin blossoms, which are usually a kind of yellowy orange color. But I also wanted them to glow. And I thought, I have this glow-in-the-dark nail polish that I used a couple of years ago for a project I think I actually showed on my channel, where I painted some little pumpkin candy things that I found. So I'm painting it on both the boots and the necklace, because the necklace is also supposed to look like a pumpkin blossom. So I found this bracelet in my box of like doll accessories for customizing, and I believe it's an Ever After High bracelet from Briar Beauty. I can't remember which Briar Beauty, but I had one that I was customizing and I never finished it, and I really need to get back to that at some point. But I decided to go ahead and give it to Venus because it actually does fit her. So for the clothing for this doll, I'm terrible at making my own clothing without it being clothing that is just glued on. I'm really bad at making functional, wearable doll clothes. So I ordered these off of Etsy. And I will put links to both of these Etsy sellers in the video. It'll be in the iCard, and you can look at it down in the description. But I got both of these. The tutu was, I think, already in an orange color, but I had to ask the artist that made the corset if they could make an orange one that would fit a G3 Venus, and they were very kind and they said sure. So I was really happy about that. I picked up these little glow-in-the-dark moons and stars at Michael's. They were in their Halloween decor section. I think these are supposed to be like you sprinkled them on a tablescape kind of a thing, but they glow in the dark, and I thought it would be really cool to use the Fabri-Tac glue and glue some of these stars and moons to the outfit. And so I'm starting with the corset, and I'm trying not to put any of the glue on the black stitching because I think it looks really cool and I don't want to cover that up. And I'm just using this little tool to apply them. And the corset was really easy to do, and I think it looks really nice. And it glows in the dark, and it looks awesome. But I kind of regret putting them on this tutu, I will admit. Because it's sheer fabric and it's folded, I had to sit there and pull each pleat apart so that they didn't glue together. and I just kept coming back to it every 5 or 10 minutes and pulling it all apart so that the glue wouldn't catch on itself. And It looks cool. I mean, it kind of looks like constellations, and I don't know. I think it's fine. But you know, when you're customizing a doll, a lot of it is a learning process. Sometimes you try things that you never tried before. Like right now, I'm trying to make her some earrings. I've never made earrings this way. These are crystal glow-in-the-dark beads, and I found these spider charms, and I got those at a local craft shop. These pins I've had forever, and they come in handy when you need to pin something, obviously, but I thought maybe I could use them to make earrings. So I cut off the tips, and at some point I got the idea to completely cut off the little purple tip, and I forgot to show it on the video, but I did pierce her ears with thumbtacks, and then I glued the beads to the earring, the glow-in-the-dark beads, and they worked really well, so I'm happy about that. So I mean, we're at almost the end of the creation process here, and now I'm just putting it all together. This corset, the artist that made this corset, I think it was, I'm looking for the card here, it was Blythe Clothes Design. You are amazing. I cannot believe how well made that corset is at the scale that it is. It's beautiful. And I love that it actually laces up in the back. It's so beautiful. So thank you so much. Also the tutu. The tutu made by Elephant Atelier, I think is how you pronounce that. Also beautiful. So here she is, all put together, and oh my god, she looks so good. I found a bow to give her as well, so. Alright, so now that you've seen all the footage of what it took to create this custom, are you ready to meet her? So, her name was originally going to be Jackie O-Lantern, because I wanted to make her look kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. But obviously you saw in my footage that I had troubles getting the orange face. Well, actually, unfortunately, the footage I had of me trying to paint her face orange and her shoulders and stuff, I accidentally deleted. I meant to show part of it, but not all of it, because I ultimately did not do that in the end, because I couldn't get it to work right. But here she is. This is not Jackie O-Lantern anymore. This is Goblina Lanterna. And it's a French name. And basically, she is a goblin jack-o'-lantern. Goblin lantern. And I am so happy how she turned out. Now, I do have the other Venus in my collection here, so you can see the comparison. We went from this to this, and I couldn't be happier. And she even has a pet. I had so much fun creating this little pet, and as you can see, I used a Frankenstein Wutsy to kind of give me an idea of the size and kind of how they're built to create this. And so there she is with her little pet. His name is Ignis, and he is a will-o'-the-wisp, and I thought that would have been awesome. I actually created him when she was still supposed to be a jack-o'-lantern, and I thought that was really cool. But you also probably notice she is wearing a jacket that I didn't show earlier in the footage. And that's because I remembered I had this jacket that matched the bow that I used for her head. And I was like, okay, I cannot not give her the jacket. But let me get her off this stand and try to give you a close-up. So this is her face. I am really happy with how her face turned out, and ultimately I tried to make the face look like Monster High G3 and maybe a little bit of G1. And I just think she's so beautiful. I was able to give her spider earrings like I wanted to originally. The only issue is, she still has the legs like this, which my idea was that they were vines growing up and then she was a pumpkin head, basically. But, I'm happy with how she turned out. I am so happy. Like, the face, I still am shocked that I was able to make this face, because this is the first time, well, other than when I did this one, this was the first time I tried using acrylics to paint a face up on a doll. I have done one in the past with a Monster High doll from G1, and I made a fairy. And I used the Mr. Super Clear and pastels and watercolor method. But unfortunately, where I live in the Pacific Northwest, it is very humid for a lot of times of the year, unless it's the summertime. And I did not start this in the summertime, and so I was very limited. I could not spray Mr. Super Clear with how humid it was. So I smile every time I look at her. I think she just looks so good, and her hair turned out so awesome. I love this curly nylon hair. It was so easy to root. I kind of want to do nothing but curly nylon from now on, because it was just so easy to do. I'm so happy with her. Now, this jacket, before I forget to mention, was actually made by Haunt Couture, and here is their information. They're on Instagram, and they also have a website, and they sell on Etsy as well. That's where I picked this jacket up. And then I'll show these again too, just because I want to promote these artists. So the corset was made by this shop. They are mostly Blythe clothes, but they do make some Monster High and other style clothes. Or they say they fit Monster High dolls. So I picked that up. And then this was, I didn't use the underwear that came with this orange tutu. So I still have that. But this is the information for this, if it will focus on it. There we go. They are on Instagram as well and Etsy, so definitely go follow them. I'll put links to them in the iCards and down below. So, I love supporting artists. I bought these a while ago, so I don't know what it's like to order from them now that we have all these tariffs and whatnot. But anyway, so happy with how she turned out. And I will show you what she looks like glowing in the dark in some photos, because I cannot do it justice just here in my room. So there she is, Goblina Lanterna. I think she turned out so good. And make sure you go check out Enzo's video. I got to see an early version of the video, and it is amazing. I won't spoil the surprise. I loved it. It's definitely right up my alley, so I think you'll enjoy it too. And go follow him as well, and like his video, and like my video if you enjoyed seeing this custom, and hype it up if you can. And I hope you all have a wonderful, happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. And if you're not subscribed, do hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. And I will see you next time with another Halloween video very soon. This is my favorite time of year, so I have a few videos planned. So, all right. Well, I cannot wait to make another Monster High custom, because obviously it made me so happy making this, and I cannot wait to make another one. So, well, take care out there. I love you guys. Happy Halloween. A special shout out to all my members. Thank you guys so much. Also, thank you to all my subscribers, new and old. Without you, these videos would not be possible. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.